and I take nothing for granted. Every day I'm on sabbatical is a total gift, knowing that most people don't ever get that. And we can all create moments in our week where we're not busied by life.
Hi there, welcome to Tiny Pulpit Talks. I'm Reverend TJ.
I'm Reverend Beth.
I'm Reverend Daniel.
And we are here to talk about something very important in the life of ministers here and actually theologically, sabbatical. Daniel has been on sabbatical for a little while. How's it going?
It's great. So it's very different this time. I decided to go away 2 months, come back a month. Go away 2 months, come back a month, kind of thing. So so it's going great.
So sabbatical
is what?
It shares a root with the word Sabbath. It's about rest, and also comes from scripture when it talks about letting fields lay fallow for a while so they can regenerate. Are you feeling any regeneration from your fallowness?
Wow. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the thing about taking a Sabbath, whether it's every Friday night as the Jews take, or it's, once every 6 years like we do, is that just stepping back completely from all responsibilities, all things that you're involved with is really important. Yeah. And we don't do it enough. I think everyone should be considering how this happens. And it's also not just going on vacation and going sitting on a beach. Yeah. So to me, sabbatical is about renewal, learning, and adventure. And all three of those things, at least for me, help me separate from my daily routine as a minister of this church, but also create fallowness and regeneration.
Yeah.
So the first part of this sabbatical, and we should just say, ministers typically are the last people who get sabbaticals with academics. We get a month for every year of service, up to 6.
Right.
And so the way I'm doing this now is I just returned from 2 months, one in, really 5 weeks in India, Northeast India, with our partners there, studying, learning, preaching, consulting, working with the churches there. But really the main project was translating hymns from their indigenous language that is not connected to any other language in the world, and understanding their poetry and their hymnody as a way of understanding their theology. So I'm working on that. I translated 16 of their hymns. When I say I translated, I mean I sat down with their ministers and scholars, and it would take 2-3 hours to get through one, because one of the thing is true is that in their language there are very few words, and so compared to English, so one word can mean 3 or 4 things. And we'd go through a line, and we're talking about like poetic songs, and I'd have to say, okay, so what does that mean in this context? There are repetitive words, so I'm starting to get actually some understanding of that, but the context is everything. Yeah. So I spent a lot of time doing that.
Yeah.
Alongside a lot of time just real deep quiet and doing nothing, which is really amazing.
Yeah.
And then I spent
unusual.
And unusual. Then I spent a little over 3 weeks in New Zealand with our Unitarian church there, 2 Sundays. I preached there as just a way of, I like to go to places and know the people and not just be a tourist. So we have kind of embedded with the people of the Auckland church. And then we did some travel and just some stepping back from, what I call slow travel, which is like 3-4 days in a place,
Yeah.
and not a new city every day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was part one. And then part two, I'm leaving after Easter on a 28-day, 27-day bicycle journey. I decided to go back to New Zealand.
Because you were going to go to Europe before,
I was
right?
going to go to Europe and start in Italy and ride a bicycle, which is something I do. People worry about me, but I've been on many adventures.
Ridden across the country
yeah.
and all sorts of things.
Yeah, it's not that it's without danger, but it's, I know what I'm doing. But I decided that the deep quiet of New Zealand and the nature and the clean air and the
Hobbits
and the untroubled people and the indigenous spirituality of the Maori people, all of those things were calling me more than the chaos of Europe.
Yeah.
And I kind of started thinking about like riding through Rome and through places that are just like full of chaos right now, not only because of what's going on in the world, but just because of what it is. So I shifted gears, uncharacteristic of me. I spent 6 months planning that journey, and now I am going on another journey.
Well, anyone taking a bike trip should know how to shift gears.
Yeah, that's
I was
right.
thinking.
That's right. No pun intended.
Yeah.
So then I'll be back here in mid-June, and then I'm gonna go have another real quiet time. My wife and I are gonna live in Maryland in the Eastern Shore in the Chesapeake Bay for 2 months, and I'm going to try to write my reflections on the India experience and go to as many baseball games as I can.
That's right.
Okay.
That sounds great.
Yeah, but you've been on sabbaticals. Have you been on sabbatical?
No, I came here for my sabbatical.
That's right. You're on the road. You're like on the road.
I mean, I did go. I mean, I took 2 months between a call in Hawaii and coming here, and I did. I took a road trip from Washington all the way here, and I took about a month to do it. I stayed in Death Valley. I hiked a lot of places. I saw people along the way. I mean, living out of my car. I mean, I definitely saw some crazy show in North Dakota. Anyway, but yeah, I really took a journey, and so. Yeah, it was like a mini sabbatical to really readjust from island life to back to Dallas life. So
Yeah, I mean, I took a full 6 months sabbatical in 2022. So instead of breaking it up into the 2 months, I did 6 months is a lot. And, I was not able to step away from all responsibilities, but I stepped away from ministry and the day-to-day of ministry. And lived more fully into my responsibilities as a mom. We had a puppy during that time, so I learned some things about dog training.
Yeah.
The travel that I had planned got a little bit ruined by the continuation of the pandemic, but it was just an opportunity to slow down and to live, like you were saying, at a totally different pace than I was used to. And to really focus on some things that I don't always just like have the time in the day or make the time in the day to focus on. So it was a lovely change of pace.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, when my kids were little, my sabbatical was writing a doctoral thesis and then like begging my wife so that I could go on a 3-week bicycle trip. But it's different.
I did get away
when
for
your
1
kids
week.
are grown up.
I got away for 1 week.
Right. So.
To the hill country. It was lovely.
Yeah. But I think, what is the message for people listening? I mean, like, this is...
Yeah.
I was going to say, in some ways, my whole life is sabbatical, hearing you guys talk about your lives.
Yeah, right.
But sorry, you were
When
saying...
you raise children,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing of Sabbath is, like, I also practice a weekly Sabbath.
Yes.
My Thursday night to Friday night is sort of what I call sacred time. I try not to do any work. I try not to drive if I can help it. I try to intentionally slow my life down as slow as it can get. And that means spending time with friends and family. And I think everyone can do that.
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
mean, I learned this
Yeah.
when I lived in Israel, when everything shut down on Friday night, and for the Jewish Sabbath, like there's absolutely nothing. Like you could hear a pin drop in the Jerusalem, like, and it was so sane, And in traditional Sabbath, Jewish Sabbath, it is making time for God. Right. And there's all kinds of variations on this, from Orthodox to Reform and Judaism. But the core idea is that you just stop.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, yay, it's the weekend. Let's go fill it with all the things we were waiting to do because we were working all week. It's not that. It's stopping. And it's making time for yourself, your family, and your friends, and you and the holy. We're not that good at this as Americans.
No.
Not at all.
And that's part of the message I sometimes think about sharing with people, is that I say no to things, and I'm not being mean, I'm not being whatever. There are things I would like to do, but I'm placing first my connection to God or my spiritual life and rest. And we are in a time where prioritizing those gifts we can give ourselves are essential to our being able to do all the other things we do. And sometimes that means saying no to some things and not packing those weekends full of all those. And this sounds totally, again, my whole life being pretty much a Sabbath. Sometimes when I'm not doing anything, I'm thinking, well, I'm available for any of my friends that need me right now, because I'm not doing all these other things. I'm just, I don't know, home. Don't all text me on Friday. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
that's right.
But but and I don't mean to sound like sad, I mean, or anything like that.
No,
And it's not. It actually feels very warm and joyful.
Yeah, it's an emptying out. And we can all do it. We can all do this no matter what. I mean, a sabbatical is a great privilege. I am totally aware of that. And I take nothing for granted. Every day I'm on sabbatical is a total gift, knowing that most people don't ever get that. And we can all create moments in our week where we're not busied by life.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I've been preaching about Sabbath for so many, ever since seminary and living in Israel and experiencing that. And I hope people think about building that into their week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So turn off YouTube right now. Have your Sabbath. No, I'm kidding. But not a bad idea.
Yeah.
So think about that for the time ahead. And if you have any questions, drop them in the chat or let us know. Subscribe, like us, do all those things. And if not, then we will see you on Sunday. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.